Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Dwayne Allen Guitar Concepts. We're going to put tonight's lesson, I'm going to call this the advanced category. This one's pretty deep and heavy. This reminds me a lot of the video that I did a while ago on horizontal guitar playing, how to play with a much more concept of moving from high to low on the neck rather than this way, which is more vertically. If you haven't seen that video, I would definitely check that out because that's a pretty big prerequisite for tonight's lesson, where you want to really be able to see all the notes on the neck where they're kind of in a row this way. It's going to really help you with understanding the concept that we're going to get into tonight. I call this, we're going to talk about grips, okay? I try to think of a good lesson to do for my advanced students, and it's so difficult nowadays because there's so many great videos out there of different concepts. You know, I always try to think of what can I do that I haven't seen a lot of, and this is one area that I haven't seen that much of. I know piano players think about this a lot, and I'm sure other guitar players do too, but I'm just going to talk about my idea. A lot of times when I'm comping, people will say to me like, you know, what are those weird chord voicings you're doing, and you know, what are you doing there? Like let's say if it's over a D minor chord, might go that kind of a thing, right? What I'm playing is what we call grips, okay? And a grip is basically a group of notes that is kind of a shape that fits within a tonality, and it can be moved around within that tonality. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's back up a little bit. So I just did something based on D minor, okay? Whenever I teach a lot of these concepts, I like to do things in the key of C because it's easier. Obviously, you should be able to do any concept in any key, but let's keep it simple. Do it in the key of C. The prerequisite, if you haven't seen my video on horizontal guitar playing, you really should check it out because it outlines some concepts that you should practice. What you should be able to do before doing this lesson is you should know all the notes on the fretboard and basically all the natural notes, which would be the key of C. So in the key of C, you know, if you're on the E string, it's all of these notes here and so forth. You got to know where all the notes are in the key of C. Okay, so key of C is all natural. I'm doing D minor, which is kind of D Dorian, right? So what I did was, what I'm doing with this particular grip is I'm just having a group of 3 notes that we're calling the grip. In this case, it's B, C, and G, okay? You can actually say that that's part of a C major 7 chord, or you could kind of say that it's kind of a D minor 11/13 because it's got the 13, the 7th, and the 11th, right? But see, this is definitely, I want to also let you guys know that it's definitely for more of like modal type of playing. So you can do this in standards, but this really comes in handy when you have one chord for a long time. Say like the song Impressions by Coltrane, where you have D minor for like 16 bars and E flat minor for 8, that kind of a thing. So what I'm doing is I have this grip coming from C major, which works for D minor as well, right? So with this shape, what I'm doing is I'm keeping this interval group the same as I'm going up the neck. Now, for instance, we have a minor 2nd and we have a perfect 5th, okay, within C major, which is the same thing as D Dorian, okay? Now, the thing is, as I go up the scale, that interval group is going to change to accommodate C major. So I can't keep doing the same thing, even though that sounds kind of cool, but there's a whole bunch of notes in there that don't fit D Dorian. So we're going to keep this grip shape going, and we're going to move it up. So B goes to C, C goes to D, G goes to A. So like this. Okay. And then that one would go up the next group, same shape. Okay. And then because of the tonality, we have D to E, E to F, and then B to C. So it goes back to this group. Next shape, next shape, next shape, next shape. So what I did was I kind of took this grip, and I learned it, key of C, right? Which is the same thing as D minor. So let me put a D minor chord in my looper, and what I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to go around, move around the different shapes of this grip. Okay, so I'm going to put a D minor in. So let's pretend that I'm comping for a tune and it's over a D minor tonality. I can move around with this set of notes here. Right? So as you can tell, I'm kind of like comping using those grips. That could be part of my solo when I'm soloing, or it could be while I'm comping. Now, some people might say, yeah, but you're not playing D minor. Remember, this is more for modal music. In modal music, it's more of a tonality where you can move around within the tonality, okay? It's the same kind of thing when McCoy Tyner or John Coltrane's piano player would do chordal voicings, and we would do what we call planing. So if you're in the key of D, I'm going to do a whole other video on chordal playing, but right? That's what McCoy Tyner would do. He does other things beyond that, but that's kind of what he would do on a D minor tonality, right? So what I'm doing is the same concept, but I'm doing a grip, okay? And because of this kind of modal concept, the grip that I'm playing doesn't necessarily have to fit the notes of that particular D minor chord that I'm playing, because I'm going up and down within the tonality. Let's say if I take another grip, that one, let me make it a little bit more stretched, right? You gotta be able to stretch to do this stuff. So I'm doing B, C, and A. So a minor second and then a major sixth, right? So what you're gonna be able to do is go up the tonality with that interval spacing. I'll go a little slower. So if I put that D minor in again, same kind of thing. Right? You could do this as part of your soloing too. So you could be in the middle of a solo over a D minor. Right? So I'm using these grips, and once you start looking at all the possibilities within this, it's kind of like how I talked about in the horizontal lesson. Your head starts to explode, because everything that I just did in D Dorian works for any of the modes of C, if you think about it, right? So if I lock in a G7 chord, it's the same notes. We're doing a G mixolydian tonality, and I'm using the same grip again because all of these notes are going to fit the G mixolydian tonality, because it's the same thing as D Dorian. So check this out. If I do a G7, right, same thing. Got the idea? Sounds pretty cool. And because I can do that in G Mixolydian, I can do it in any of the modes of C major. So let's say if I did like a F Lydian kind of a thing. That's kind of cool. So if I do this, same concept. And you don't have to always be in time. You can flow too. Now, if you're noticing, I'm taking, excuse me, the top voice and moving it around the tonality so that like I'm making more of a melodic thing. So it's a right. It's really cool. Pretty cool. Any tonality within C. Let's do one more. Let's do like a B half diminished. That's the 7th chord of C, right? If I did a B half diminished, let's make it interesting. Minor 7 flat 5, minor 11 flat 5. So something like this. Same concept. Like I had this shape right here where it's doing this shape, and then we started with this shape, and then like we went up and down like this, right? So I'm kind of doing this, right? I'm going in and out between different shapes. And what's really mind-blowing about this is like, okay, so we can do any grip of any intervallic group within that tonality, right? So why do we have to do it on the high 3 strings? We don't have to do it on the high. We do it, if you start doing it on lower strings, it gets to be a little bit muddier. But let's say if I'm doing this kind of grip, right? And I move it around C major. So, right? Let's do, I'm going to do like an Aeolian thing. So it'll be like an A minor with an F in there. And I'll do the same grip. Works with the same way, same type of situation. I've learned where Pat Metheny will do this too, and he'll do it more like a tonal thing. So like, let's say if it's like, if you do a grip like this, where I'm doing a 5th, and you can even skip strings when you do this, right? You can go like this, E, B, skip a string to G, right? And let's say you're doing like an Americana thing over a C major chord. If you go up and down with this grip, it almost sounds like you're doing triads in a way. But I notice with that Metheny will do this when he's playing like a folk song on the acoustic guitar, he'll do that. So if it's like a C major grip, you know, you can kind of go. Sounds pretty like that. Obviously, any of the C tonalities, you can do the same concept. Another idea is you can just think of it the grip can be really wide intervals. Like I could skip strings like C to a B to a G. So I'm A string, G string, and E string, right? So I'm doing an interval set. Okay, I'm doing a major 7th, and then the B to the G is a minor 6, right? So you go up and down the C tonality using that group. Let's do it over a C major chord, just to make it sound pretty. And anytime you do anything harmonic, you can do it melodically. It makes it very intervallic. Right? So this is pretty endless, right? If we can do it in C and all of the tonalities of C and any grip that you can think of, you can do it in any key, right? Key of C, G, F, B flat, A flat. I just gave you enough work for like a year. Oh wait, you can do it in any kind of scale. So harmonic minor, right? Oh my God, now we have another concept, right? So if I'm doing C, let's not do harmonic minor, let's do melodic minor. So if I'm doing like C melodic minor, right? So you have B, C, and G again, but we have to follow a melodic minor. So it's D, C, D, A, D, E flat, B natural, E flat, F, right? C, F, G, D, G, A, B flat, A, B, F. So if you're doing like a C minor 9 type of deal. Right? Any tonality from C melodic minor you can do. Oh my God. So if we're doing like a F Lydian dominant. My looper's acting up tonight. So if you're comping over an F Lydian dominant. Don't worry if every one of those notes is not in that chord. It's a tonality thing, okay? So this is heavy duty stuff. So you can sit here and make up 50 different grips, go up and down that way, right? The really challenging thing of this is you have to know your neck really, really well. You got to know all your major keys. I like to call them the 1-string scales. If you know all of them, then you can do all the modes. So this is really a lot of work, but I think it's a really cool concept, and it's definitely one of the things that I do in my playing that I feel might be a little unique. I mean, everybody has something in their playing that they kind of gravitate to, and this is one of those things that I've been doing for years, and I have practiced it. Sometimes I will just experiment though. I'll just sit there and put a chord in the loop and just kind of improvise and just see what I can come up with. But to do this well, you do have to know your neck really well. So I definitely recommend learning your horizontal 1-string scales and all that. But these grips, they sound really cool to me. Some of them are dissonant, some of them are kind of far out, but I like that kind of sound. I think Bill Frisell does some of this. He may not be as busy as I'm doing it, but he'll do a grip like that, and that'll be how he comps. That's where I think I got a lot of these ideas from. I'm sure he has his own system in his head that he does it, but you know, I kind of feel like I got some of the ideas from his comping. But anyway, I hope you guys got some new things to work on. You know, this is a pretty deep subject. You could do it in harmonic minors, melodic minors, major scales, harmonic majors if you're really bored. It's endless, so this is something you could work on forever. But if you want some new ideas to play harmonies and things like that, this is definitely one possibility out there. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Hope you don't have too much of a headache, and thanks for listening. And if you like the lesson, please hit subscribe. And just also want to remind you guys, I teach privately, and you know, I feel like it's much better. I give you one-on-one help and try things and new concepts and all that. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.